What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for September 20th, 2021. We are getting our first full wipe in Star Citizen since 3.8, about a year and a half ago. There is a Star Citizen ship competition that is creating more drama than you can possibly imagine, and the way our inventory is going to work will change the way we play forever. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first Week in Review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and throw what I think in there as well. Also, I do live stream on twitch.tv/SaltEMike every day but Monday, so I can get this video out to you starting at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you haven't checked out my Answer the Call podcast, the link will be up there. And it was about a lot of that drama and the way inventory will work. It was a long podcast, 2 hours. We talked a lot about it, a lot of great discussion. There was even a former CIG developer on there to talk about game design. It was really great. But we're going to get right into this one, and we're going to start out with patch notes updates. The first one's not quite patch notes, but it is a launcher update. And there's a new verification process, which should be better now. So when you check to see if you have issues with your game, and it will verify the files better than it did before. And there's a new loading bar as well in that to determine how well it's verifying, I guess. And then the wipe for 3.15. So before we start this big news, let's maybe start out with the sort of pointless news, I guess, here. They fixed the random money disappearing issue from Xenothreat, basically. Right around Xenothreat is when it started being really noticeable, I guess. Some of the money wasn't able to be recovered, though. This should be fixed for future releases, which is why it's important to discuss. But it doesn't matter, because there's going to be a wipe in 3.15, and it's going to be a full wipe. Long-term persistence is now split into 3 different things. Your items, your wallet, which is just Alpha UEC for now, and reputation. All of them can be wiped individually after 3.15, but all 3 will be wiped for 3.15. So if there's an issue with, reputation, they can wipe that and start over. If there's an issue with money, they can wipe that and start over without having to wipe everything else. Now, why are they wiping? Reputation. It's gone through a big tuning pass, and it needs a wipe for it to be implemented. There are so many account-related issues as well, and people had to reset to work around, and this should help those issues more by doing a full database wipe for it. The insane amount of money also that people have through exploits and other means has kind of made the game stale and the grind and playing the game sort of pointless. Working for ships, why work for ships when you can afford them all in about 5 minutes through some of the exploits in previous patches, right? And then lastly, and I think most importantly, inventory is changing. The items in your inventory are no longer in a global magical wallet. They're going to be located in actual locations on your character and in other places that we'll discuss later when we get to the video updates. So since that magical inventory is going away, where do you put all the items that we earned in previous patch? It's just kind of weird. So doing a full wipe and allowing the database to determine where your items should go and have less items is probably a good idea, right? And now for the dumb stuff. After a wipe, they want to give us the money that they lost during the Xenothreat event. But doesn't this contradict a lot of what they said previously? Basically, they want us to start with fresh money to see how we earn money and see how we earn ships. A lot of people earned well over 1 million credits in Alpha UEC during the Xenothreat event. That's enough to buy a ship right away. How does that determine how people are going to earn money, how quickly they're earning ships? It doesn't help for that. So I don't understand the point of this. My opinion, give the reward armor that we earned during Xenothreat and let us work our money up however you have in the game. Well, whatever little you have in the game for us to earn money at this moment. I don't think it'll have that much of an impact on the way we play, not having the money. It's just, I don't know. It's a very weird thing, and I don't really get it. But Let me know in the comments what you guys think about a wipe. Let me know in the comments what you think about them giving us money after a wipe. Very odd. Moving on to video updates, we had the inventory feature. I feel like we've talked a ton about inventory in recent weeks, so I'm going to make some assumptions that you know that it's coming, that it's going to be a thing, and that the magical global inventory is no longer. So there's a few types of inventory. Let's start out with the local inventory.
Local inventory is the largest space that you have access to. It's not infinite, but it will be the largest space that you have access to. And that is tied to what you'd imagine the location that you're in.
So let's take, for example, Port Olisar. Whilst I'm on the station, I can access Port Olisar and everything that I've stored within the location inventory. As soon as I leave the station and fly off, I can no longer access those items.
So when you open up your inventory, you'll be able to just press I or go through it, the person in a thought, and open up your inventory, and you'll see, okay, there's all of the gear on my character, and then you'll have another kind of window on the other side which will show all of your local inventory. And the other thing is that it becomes your default home location for all of your gear, equipment, subscriber flares, vehicles, everything that you own will be deposited at this location.
Now, I do like this, but basically the magical global inventory is just being reimagined and placed in a landing location. It's deposited at your home as soon as you log in and choose your home for the first time. So as we go through this, one thing is very clear. This is not the final experience, but what is there is way more functional and seems like a big improvement. Next up is an inventory I was not at all expecting, even though it was sort of in the game already.
The next one down is a vehicle inventory, and that marries an inventory container with a ship interior. In the same way that you have to be a location in order to access your location inventory, you have to be inside your ship to access your vehicle inventory.
Larger ships will have more inventory, and smaller ships will have less inventory. And this is simulating all of the lockers and all the physical storage that you would have had on those ships.
This one is huge to me. I don't know about you guys, but most of the sci-fi that I enjoyed had characters that lived on their ships and would occasionally dock at a station or on a planet to resupply, really, and that was it. In a way, the ship inventory kind of opens up that ability. That's if bed logouts work consistently. It could be really fun. I'm considering some sort of a challenge, actually, in 3.15 when it does go live related to this. So when I say that the inventory was already in the game, they kind of started this step with the C2 and the little local inventory they had in that ship. So really excited to see this. I just wasn't expecting it to be at this scale. After that is external inventory, but I think you might be surprised at just how much that encompasses.
The next inventory scale down is external inventory, and that's any inventory container that you interact with that's basically in a box.
It can be in a ship, or it can be a crate out in the world, or it can be a loot box. It can be anything. It could even be the corpses that you leave.
When you kill someone, the amount of flesh and bones that they leave behind is something you can interact with and start rummaging around inside. It's an interface that allows you to drag off armor, weapons, etc.
So personally, I was very surprised to see the external box on the Gladius working. I was even more surprised to see how polished the system of looting an NPC was. You can take each armor piece off individually, you can loot the internals, and there is a really clean way to drop items for your friends as well. Very exciting. I mean, this is what they said. Just remember this, guys. They pushed looting, they pushed inventory, they pushed everything back a quarter because they wanted to polish it. This is what we got. I know it's frustrating sometimes. I'm the beacon of frustration at times, but this is what giving an extra quarter could do. It's great. And the last inventory type, the one that started it all, personal inventory and its improvements.
So finally, the smallest form of inventory is personal inventory, and that's anything that has an inventory container attached to it that you can wear. So whether that's trousers and jacket, there'll be a corresponding UI container for your jacket pockets, for your trouser pockets, etc.
And backpacks now are separated from cores, so you can choose which armor you prefer based on the choices that you want, and then you'll be able to associate a different backpack to the armor. Light goes with light, medium can have medium and light, and heavy can have heavy, medium, and light.
Now, I don't have too much to add here. you know, the fact that it's clearly a smoother experience than the previous PMA, the dragging and dropping items on your character is just plain better. And lastly, knickknacks. The name I'm not a fan of. I think I've said this a couple times now. The Inventory Manager app. This is simply the app that tells you where your stuff is. From what I can see, it has some filtering, and it seems pretty awesome. And given, you know, we're going to have items all over the place now, it is just kind of makes sense to have a system of finding out, hey, where was that med pen or whatever? It would just make sense, right? Now, moving on to other updates, we had a lore post about the UEE Marine history. We had a sneak peek that is highlighting baskets for some reason. It's really hard to determine what this peak really means for the player's future. I'm assuming it has something to do with homesteads, but it looks very cool. Talk Like a Pirate Day. Basically, it's an excuse to sell more ships. Nothing new here. All Drake ships are on sale. The Vulture probably being the one that sticks out the most because, like most ships, expect a price hike when it comes into the game. And last, but certainly not least, Ship Showdown. We're in the final four. Saber will win by the time that this video is posted. 600i, C2, and the MPUV cargo. Yeah, so the Argo cargo. I'm just going to say this. If you get mad and make threats about a pointless ship skin competition, you need to look in the mirror. You're a clown. And that'll do it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I, as always, enjoyed making it. Make sure you leave a like, leave a comment on anything we discussed today, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.